somebody until you've walked a mile in their shoes. We'll see how one historic New York shoe store reinvented itself after unexpectedly falling on hard times. That's coming up next on Your Business.
Hey, I put some new shoes on and suddenly everything's right. I said, hey, I put some new shoes on and everybody's smiling. It's so inviting, no short on money but long on time. Slowly strolling in the sweet sunshine and I'm running.
Hi everyone, I'm JJ Ramberg and welcome to Your Business, where we give you tips and advice to help your business grow. When Robert Schwartz saw his orthopedic shoe business suddenly drop by 50%, he knew he had to do something drastic. He shows us how you can reinvent a company with a little style. Walking through the busy showroom of the Eneslow Foot Comfort Center, you would never know that this historic New York City company almost folded after 60 years in business.
I felt like I was in charge of a legacy business, that my responsibility was to make sure it continued. People come to us and we save their lives. We give them back their ability to walk on the planet pain-free.
25 years ago, Robert Schwartz was running a lucrative custom medical shoe business with 8 stores, 110 employees, and more than $4 million in revenue.
The Eneslow model was based on consumers being referred by doctors. You really should have a different insert in each of your shoes. When the Medicaid train started to rev up and dominate our business, now all of a sudden people were coming in with a prescription for quote-unquote orthopedic shoes. They were really looking for free shoes.
Medicare customers soon accounted for more than 50% of the company's revenue, bringing in a steady and reliable stream of business. That is, until the other shoe dropped.
Warren Person, my general manager, came to me with an envelope. And in that envelope was the story of New York State Medicaid saying that the formula for Medicaid was no longer viable, that half of our business was no longer going to be there.
It kind of blew us out of the water, really.
And in effect, what the document said was, don't expect to stay in this business anymore.
Within about 2 or 3 months, we started really feeling the results because bills weren't getting paid on time. The worry was, are we going to make it?
Hey, Peter.
Schwartz knew he needed to radically downsize the company in order to save it. But it took some advice from a mentor to help him figure out that downsizing meant closing 7 of his 8 New York stores.
This is the time in which you need your advisors. And I was very fortunate because there was a gentleman who said, Bob, one good store, that's all you need. And so at the end of 1989, we had closed up all the branches, and we were now a one-store business.
Hey, I put some new shoes on and suddenly everything's right.
With less overhead, Schwartz was now free to reposition his company for the future with some bold changes to the brand. While he stayed true to Eneslow's roots by keeping its custom shoe department, he also focused in on a new market for comfortable but stylish shoes that would appeal to a broader customer.
I spent much more time focusing on consumer-driven products, styles that were comfortable and pedorthically oriented, but also were more fashionable.
It does look like you're catering at least partly to a customer that cares about fashion, because if you look around at some of these shoes, they don't look like orthopedic shoes.
You're exactly right. We could not be a store growing and doing as much business as we do and stay hardcore to the walking shoes only.
The reinvention of the Eneslow brand had begun.
They used to call it the old lady store. That's what they used to call it, the old lady store. But you know, as the years come by, now mostly these orthopedic shoes that are coming out right now, they're starting to look better. You know, showing to a customer, they look at them and says, is that orthopedic shoes?
After 11 years of struggle, radical downsizing, and no salary, another unexpected event put Eneslow back on the map.
One of our customers was a reporter for the New York Times, and he said he wanted to write an article called Suffering Souls, and it hit the New York Times front page Metro section December 15th, 1994, and our business went up 50% for the rest of the month of December, went up 30% in 1995, and we were up and running.
With Eneslow's reinvention complete, the business is now thriving, with aging baby boomers seeking out its services in record numbers. And while he says the road was rough, Schwartz said he never even thought of giving up on the business.
I felt my legacy was to sustain something that was unique and special and different, that the world really needed, that there were very few people who provided the services that we provided, the benefits we provided. And I'm an optimist. You know, you don't think it's going to fail. It's just not going to fail.
Eneslow, how can you reinvent a faltering business? Let's turn to this week's Board of Directors to ask them. Kim T. Gordon is president of National Marketing Federation Incorporated, a strategic marketing consulting firm. She's also author of the book Maximum Marketing, Minimum Dollars, the Top 50 Ways to Grow Your Small Business. Nell Merlino joins us again. She is the founder, president, and CEO of Count Me In for Women's Economic Independence. That's a not-for-profit provider of business loans and resources for female entrepreneurs. And Erica Dinan-Minahan is also here again. She's the executive director of Golden Seeds, which provides entrepreneurs with advice as well as access to funding. Great to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
Kim, great to have you here.
Thank you.
So, as a small business owner, Kim, I have to say that when I hear the story of losing 50% of your business at once, it just puts a knife into my heart. So if this happens to you, how do you know if you should reinvent or just shut your doors?
I think, like Eneslow, most entrepreneurs are very passionate about what they do, so the tendency is not to close the doors. The tendency instead, JJ, is to take the first step to look around and see if there's a target audience that has a perceived need for what you market, and then look for the benefit, the chief benefit that target audience is looking for. What do they want to derive? And then retool your business in order to fulfill that need.
You know, now, psychologically, though, it's hard if you get a blow like this. So how do you kind of deal with mourning your lost customers while looking towards figuring out how to save your company?
The thing that struck me about this, though, more than anything, were there must have been some indications that it was coming. You don't change a government policy like this and lose. So I would also say you really need to pay attention to your biggest customers, so that you are prepared, you know, and give yourself as much time as possible to respond to something like this. Because this notion that you get it in a letter, something else was going on before that.
Erica, does it make you worried, though, about having a concentrated customer base in general?
I think it should make you extremely worried. I think that he knew that his gravy train was coming to an end. I mean, even in the beginning he mentioned how, you know, he knew that people were coming in there for free shoes. So with some foresight, he should have, you know, expected that the government was going to catch on to this scam. As an investor, one of the first things that we look at is customer concentration, and so we want to make sure that any company that we invest in can withstand the stress test of losing its biggest customer and adapt to it.
And luckily he was, because he reinvented so quickly. Kim, one of the things he had to deal with, though, is he had to kind of rejigger his whole brand. And how do you strike the balance between staying true to who you are, particularly with a historic brand, and moving forward?
Well, you stay with what's central to your name and what you can't live without. In other words, what are you primarily identified with? Well, the name was historic. Good for them for keeping the name Eneslow. And then you have to completely retool. Find a whole new, what's called point of differentiation. That's what separates you from all of your competition out there, and it must be something that your particular target audience wants to buy. For example, I've been coaching someone out in Tulsa, Oklahoma for several years, a woman-owned business. When I began coaching her, she had about $2 million in sales, and she was selling tape media. I coached her through this whole reorganization and retooling, and now she sells equipment and installation. She's $9 million in sales, and what we did was we redid all of her communications. I advised her to take a new look, a new approach, look at what a new audience would embrace, and then align herself with top manufacturers, and then do what's called use influential media.
I apologize, I'm going to have to stop you there, but I think it's a good point that you have to step back, take a look at your whole company, and see things that you can change in times like these. All right, Kim Gordon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.